Raise the roof, motherfuckers! Let's go! Damn right. It's Wednesday night. Welcome to Wrestling with Reality. I am John. Joining me as always is my partner, Malibu fucking Rich. What the fuck? Are you drinking Malibu rum or some shit?
No, dude. No, it's heartbreaking. I no longer am driving a truck right now. I'm driving a fucking piece of shit Chevy Malibu for a rental car for the next fucking however long to keep my baby away from me.
Oh, you poor baby. You guys are having Malibu. You a family
so
man.
Oh, dude, it's so low to the ground. The fucking mirrors are garbage. I'm not used to not having my tow mirrors and shit. Like, just fucking garbage, dude. All over.
Next thing we're gonna get you is a minivan.
Fuck you. No way, dude. You never catch me alive in one of those.
We're gonna get you in one of those badass Honda Odysseys.
They tried handing me a fucking key to a Toyota RAV4 or a fucking Nissan Rogue little fucking shit box. I was like, I'm good. I'll take the Malibu.
The RAV4 was good. I had the RAV4 for my work car for like 3 years and loved it, man. Actually, it was a really good car. I'll say the RAV4 was good, but it's so different than driving a truck.
Oh, dude. It's, at the end of the day, it's made for, soccer moms and shit,
Yeah, 100%. Well, you only gonna have to bear with the Malibu for a while.
Yeah, probably a month or so.
That's all right. You'll live. You'll be all right. There's greater tragedies in life, right?
Yep. What's up, Rob? Yeah, it's looking like Hanukkah coming up, huh? Anyhow.
What's going on, Rob? Rob is here. Good to see you.
Yep.
Trying to drive a Yugo. Try
driving a Yugo. What the fuck is a Yugo, Rabbi?
A Yugo is, let's look it up here. I know it's some type of vehicle. Oh yeah, it's a pretty hideous looking Ukrainian vehicle. Oh no, excuse me. It's originally made in Yugoslavia.
Huh.
And they are the biggest shitbox looking thing. Hold on, I'll show you a picture of it here. Give me a second. I'll pop it up on the screen so you can see what a Yugo is. This is what Rabbi's driving around here, buddy. This is what he's driving around. Woof.
Does it have a dreidel that you spin to fucking get it going?
Look at this ugly piece of shit.
Wow, Rabbi, you're picking up the ladies in that fucking thing.
Man, he's balling.
Is that a remake of a Yugo right there? The blue, the like sky blue one all the way to the left? Is that like a new concept car?
Yeah, it is. It's a new concept of it.
Oh, God.
The Yugo, also known as the worst car in history, is set to make a comeback.
Kick that shit off in the fucking lake, dude.
Wow. Imagine being ranked the worst car in history and you decide to bring that shit back.
I don't know. The Pinto's a close second, I'm sure.
Yeah, the Pinto looks just like this shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was it a Ford?
Yeah, Ford piece of shit.
Let's see. Ooh, God, that's hideous. Look at that thing.
Yeah.
Those are the ones like the
look up the big black Christopher Big Black Boykin Pinto.
Christopher Boykin
Pinto. Boiken, I think. And then Pinto.
Who the fuck is he?
He was on Robin Big.
Oh, that's Big Black.
Yeah, Big Black. Okay, do Big Black Pinto.
All right. I don't even want to know what I'm going to get here when I type Big Black Pinto in. Okay, well, that's interesting.
Dude, they aren't showing the good one though. He turned it into a fucking penis mobile. It's fucking awesome.
I'm glad they're not showing that one.
Try this one. Do Big Black extends car.
Okay. I don't want to type in any more with Big Black, right? I want to type in any more with Big Black.
No, they didn't bring it up. Fuck.
No, I'm not looking for any more Big Black stuff on here. No, thanks, buddy. I don't know.
The tire is mounted near the engine. That's retarded.
It's like the Pontiac made the Fiero. You remember the Fiero?
Yeah. Yep. My dad had a Fiero.
Yeah, and they had the engine in the back of the Fiero.
It was like a rotary engine. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it was in the back of the vehicle. But the best part of it was the drivers. There was only 2 seats in it. The drivers and the passengers. So the drivers and passenger seats was sitting on top of the gas tank.
Yeah, that thing would blow up.
It did. Like that's why they had to stop. That's why they had to discontinue it, because
that's like the Crown Vics. The Crown Vics were that way too.
Yeah, they'd get hit. People would get hit on that thing and fucking combust and explode.
Yeah, let's put the fuel source right under the driver.
Like
Sounds great. It's
in
like
a
a
list of,
flamethrower for a fucking vat.
yeah,
Like you get
in the
shot with
list
that
of
thing.
bread ideas. Let's
Yeah.
put the fucking engine in the back first, and then let's put them right under the gas tank. Good
Mm-hmm.
job. You know, like seriously, good fucking job, man.
Pontiac isn't in business anymore, and there's reasons why.
And many reasons, and that's just one of many. I mean, come on. How
They
did that
knocked
even
it out of the
pass?
park with the GTO, but other than that, they were
Yeah,
pretty
the
much
GTO's
garbage.
badass though.
Yeah.
I've always wanted one.
Yeah.
I have always wanted a GTO, man.
Yeah.
Going back to one of my favorite cheesy 80 movies called Youngblood, and then his brother Kelly has the old GTO in it, you know.
The Chevelle SS and the Plymouth Duster and the Dodge Challenger, the 70 Challengers are my favorite cars.
Yeah, I'm looking at getting maybe an antique one next year, or one that's a little bit vintage to have a little fun with, because I'm going to need another car. I just got a new car recently, and then with my daughter driving soon, you know, more people being added in my household soon. When my lovely fiance moves in, you know, I'm going to need 3 cars around here. So I'm like thinking to myself, I'm thinking about getting a work truck, like just something, you know, to knock around in, or spending the same amount of money and getting a fun little antique one.
That'd be
And
fun.
yeah, toy around with it a little bit and have a good time. I want like an old Stingray though.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I want like an old Stingray. I love the old Corvettes.
Those are good looking cars, man.
Yeah, but hey, money, money, money. That's all it is, right?
Yep, for sure.
So what's new in your world, dude?
Not much, man. Living the dream out here. Just driving a fucking Malibu now, and you know, working in the slow season where I'm at. So everything, we're just coasting over here, getting ready for the holidays.
Yeah. Well, kicked off we're kicking off the week on Wrestling with Reality, and we're going to talk about John Cena's final match is finally here. You know, it's coming up this weekend. It's going to be at the Washington D.C., right? Yeah, Washington D.C. And his final opponent is going to be Gunther.
Now there's a lot of speculation and innuendo. They don't know if Gunther's actually going to be it. They're saying that there might be a surprise at the last minute. I don't buy that. I think Gunther's actually going to be the guy, but the wrestling community seems to think that Edge is going to attack Gunther in the back and then come out and fight Cena. I don't believe that.
Really? That's like that's an actual rumor?
Oh yeah, tons of the wrestling community in the forums and stuff are all talking about it. They're saying there's no way it could just be Gunther. Like they can't just make it Gunther and it not be special and all this stuff. So they were like, you know, he retired Goldberg. Why would he retire Cena too? That doesn't make any sense. My opinion is they're going to have Gunther do it. They're going to have Gunther beat Cena, and they're going to have a handshake moment at the end.
Yep. Gunther's pretty notorious for that with people when he beats a legend or somebody that's, you know, somebody he respects in the ring, you know, despite the, you know, whatever their feud might be that he has. I think he'll take over like the moniker of kind of like a legend killer. You know, he just recently took out Goldberg, just recently took out Cena. You know, he runs with the gimmick for a few weeks and says, well, you know, the next big step.
I bet you he takes out Brock too.
Could be, you know, I mean, could be Brock, but I think they might go a different route, you know, and I think either he's going to say, you know, the next step for me is to enter the Rumble to get my championship back. And he goes in the Rumble, and I think that's where they bring back Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho knocks him out of the Rumble. They do a Gunther Jericho WrestleMania match for them, or maybe even earlier. I'd rather see it at WrestleMania. That's me. But do a Jericho and Gunther WrestleMania match after that.
They need to bring back Fandango to retire Chris Jericho. It's the only way to do
it. He just retired himself.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he just retired himself. So I don't know, though. I mean, people aren't excited about Gunther, but I really don't know what to say. Like Gunther,
I love Gunther, dude.
I do too. You know, if people
don't like, people hate on him, and I'm like, I like Gunther.
I love this too, Rabbi. This is a great thing to have Orton come back and take him out. Maybe instead of Jericho, you could do anybody with Jericho. Orton and Gunther, I like that way better, actually. You know, legend killer.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I completely forgot about Orton on that one, and you know that's WWE's fault for making us forget Orton, because there's no reason this guy should be sitting out. Orton's one of the all-time greatest.
You're trying to say he's the masked man. I'm like, there ain't no way that Orton's throwing a super kick like that.
No fucking chance. Not happening. Yeah. The lack of respect he gets from them for whatever reason just blows. It is.
But then again, it could be because of what Becky Lynch is talking about. You never know what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, maybe. You know, who knows? Maybe it's that. But
I think he's a changed man from the shit that I've seen with his family and stuff like that.
Absolutely, man. I really like that for a WrestleMania match, and it's a great way to bring Orton back in the Rumble to take him out. You know, get Gunther, cost him the match, the Royal Rumble, getting his belt back. So, I like that idea, but Jericho's inevitable. He's coming back real soon. Edge, you can wish in one hand and crap in the other, because that ain't happening.
That's not happening. And the thing of it is like, how are you going to sit there and say they're going to spend all this money on advertising Gunther versus John Cena, and then at the last minute they're going to say, "Oh, surprise, it's Edge instead." Like, you would want to advertise and build that up that it's Edge versus John Cena in his last match.
It would kind of degrade Cena's whole purpose for doing this retirement tour too, and the ending that he did. It's what would Edge? We all talked about it many times here on the show. We would have loved to have seen stuff like that and everything. It would have been great. We'd have a good pop from it and all that. But what would it have done to elevate somebody else? Nothing. That's why Orton didn't make sense. That's why Punk didn't make sense. That's why Edge doesn't make sense. Nobody's getting the rub from this one, but a guy that's going to be around for a while longer.
Yep.
The two people in this tournament that had the most to benefit were LA Knight and Gunther got the victory. There's just something about LA Knight to them, bro, that they just refuse to give this guy.
I bet you it's his backstage attitude, probably.
There was a rumor going around this week, and once again, it's just a rumor, but the rumor going around this week was that LA Knight's contract is ending in March. And that the last time you might have saw him was this last week on Raw. I don't know if that's true, but that was a rumor.
They're not going to let him go, but I don't think that they're quite keen on pulling the trigger with him yet, just to make him champion.
If they were going to
be fucking nuts to let him walk.
It would be nuts.
Yeah.
If you want to do something like that with him, if you're playing a kind of down on your luck type of thing where you can't win the big one, have him go in the Rumble too and win the Rumble.
It'd be a great storyline, right?
It would be a great storyline, man. He's never able to win the big one. He's always just comes up this little bit short. He's just about ready to take it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then here it is, he's got to enter the Rumble to win. Maybe even puts something serious up there, puts his career on the line or some shit like that, And
he is getting older too.
He's in his early 40s.
Yeah.
So, throw something out there. Make this an underdog storyline for this guy.
G'day, mate.
What's going on? Black Jack from Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. Aussie.
Oi, oi, oi.
There we go. But, throw him in the Rumble. Finally, if you really want to, if you're going to keep just fiddle fucking around with this guy, and not doing anything on a more major level with him, let him fucking go then,
Yeah.
Don't make him rot. You want to do something with him where you keep taking it and taking his opportunity away, where he just barely comes up short, each time, and you make the fans more pissed off with it. Make it into a real storyline and an underdog story. Everybody loves the underdog story, right?
Right.
Everybody does. Have him win the Rumble as the underdog story. What a way to do it. Remember when Ray did it?
Yeah, and it was a huge success for Rey Mysterio.
Yep. Nobody thought Ray would ever be a champ.
Nope, not at all. I actually have an update from something we talked about last week, because I was really interested in this, because this is my thing that I do every night before I go to bed, which is watch WWE Network basically on Peacock.
Okay.
So what's going on right now is the WWE library is largely moving off of Peacock in the U.S. with core content past PLE archives, leaving by the end of 2025, which we talked about that last week. NXT PLEs are going to stay until March 2026. So Saturday night's main event is going to remain on Peacock, and then the international content is going to shift to Netflix. So the U.S. libraries for the archives that we've been talking about are up for bidding, and ESPN is the emerging one, is the strong front runner right now that's going to acquire them, most likely. But basically, it's looking like the extensive WWE, WCW, and ECW archives are being shopped on right now, and it looks like ESPN is going to be the next home of it, or they're going to shift it over to YouTube. So you're looking at ESPN getting the archives, or YouTube to kind of regenerate their views on their YouTube channel.
How long will that take, though, for them to transfer all that content in?
It's gonna take a while, dude. It's gonna take a while, but I'm just grateful for the fact that they're not going the way of the end of it. So we're still gonna be able to watch it. It's just a matter of where it's gonna land.
We got so many years of watching that and so much enjoyment out of it. It just sucks that they're that they don't see the value in it like we do. You know, it's like, I get it's going to take up a lot of bandwidth and space. I mean, if you're not going to hold it on a network, like you said, throw it on a YouTube where we can watch everything for free.
Right. For sure.
I mean, they're going to make money in ads and shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, they're going to make a ton of money because people are going to be streaming that shit like crazy.
Yep.
I agree it should be shown on NBC, Rabbi, but don't they show it on Peacock? That's why Saturday Night's Main Event, right for now, wasn't it shown on Peacock or something like that?
Yeah, currently it's on Peacock. They're going to keep it that way until 2026, but the archives are going to ESPN. ESPN's also negotiating a deal where, this is interesting to me, honestly, because there's rumor that the Netflix deal, they may be pulling out of that and going full-fledged into ESPN, SmackDown, and Raw. So ESPN's willing to throw out a major amount of money to acquire those two shows.
The type of scratch they'd have to throw to Netflix. Netflix ain't giving that up, bro.
I don't think so either.
They just signed a 10-year deal with them. They're not giving
massive
that up.
Deal. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was $5 billion or something like that. Just for Raw. Just for Raw. And like, they don't get anything extra on there, So, I mean, ESPN can throw it out all they want. They're not going to be throwing much more money at other people here soon, I don't think, on all these networks.
And I think ESPN's going to go the way of Warner Brothers. They're going to have the same issue because they have such a fucking high evaluation of a company. And to be honest with you, dude, without, the UFC and stuff like that, ESPN's really nothing, So,
there's no way they're going to regenerate their money back from what they're spending on WWE alone.
No.
Okay. There's no way that they're going to be able to. It's like they pay $335 million a year for the rights to the pay-per-view stuff that they got going on, whatever, the $30 a month. Somebody was saying like they have to have like an additional 1 million subscribers just to be able to regenerate what they what they're spending on that. They only had 125,000 subs, extra from the WWE WrestlePalooza thing. So you ain't getting 1 million, bro. They're gonna lose. So
they're already losing their ass.
Yeah, it's like, it's crazy to me with like content now, how they put it out on all these streaming platforms, because there's no way they can be making money off of these ones.
Right.
Like you see them 82.5 million subscribers or some shit like that across the world for Netflix. But with all the money they pay for this content and they pay out for it, I just don't, it's hard to see how they make a profit, These are huge rights deals when you're talking about $500 million a year.
They're too big. They're $5 billion deal for a show like Raw should never happen. The viewership ain't there.
It's not. I can't see how it's profitable for them, but it's got to be, right?
Think of that. The viewership of Raw has drawn some of the lowest numbers it's ever had, and they paid $5 billion for that show.
Yep, and they're locked in, I think, guaranteed 5 years of it at least.
That's fucking insane, dude.
Guaranteed 5 years, bro. So 2.5 billion you're in the hole on right off the bat. If you don't like it after 5 years and you want to get rid of it, that's fine, but you still invested $2.5 billion. And you know what the crazy thing is? They probably won't re-up on there too. They'll go somewhere else and they'll get paid more money.
They'll get paid more money.
Yeah, they'll get paid more money, Yep. I mean, it's like Rabbi mentions AEW going to Netflix. It's a reality, Rabbi. Reality to go there, Netflix isn't about, unless they signed an exclusivity agreement like with WWE that said they can't put any other wrestling promotions on there without their approval, like unless they did that with them. They could put anything they want on there.
And it's nothing to Netflix, right? They just add it to their library and fucking you upload it every week and there you go. There's your fucking,
Yeah, they'll live stream that shit. It'll draw in a
is AEW getting a $5 billion fucking deal? No. I don't even think they're gonna sniff a couple million. You know what I mean? Like,
well, they get 135 million a year from
they get 135 million a year?
Yeah, for Dynamite and Collision.
For fucking what?
For that shit product that guaranteedly does not bring them back $135 million.
That's scary, dude.
Yeah, 135 million a year, I think, is the rumored amount that they spend. Might even be 185, but it's 135 or 185. It's right in that ballpark.
Good Lord.
Yeah, Lucha Underground did used to be on Netflix, Laza. I remember when it was on there.
Yep.
Never watched it, but I remember when it was on there. I like the subscription service WWE did. I would go back to the way the network had it before if they just put the archive, if they just had the archive content on there and all the vault shit.
It was the most user-friendly fucking program I ever had.
I don't give a fuck if they put the PLEs on there. I'll still keep the ESPN one and all that. Yep. I'm not going to be whatever if they want to maximize off of that. If you want to just put the library out there, bro, I would do that all day long for $10 a month.
Exactly.
And I would get all my $10 a month back in enjoyment. So
for
guaranteed.
Sure.
I'd have no problem if they went back to the old network style.
Yep.
I mean, that's just the ultimate greed right there on their part, like with what they did. And I don't blame them for it. But what they started off as their own independent network, which the whole purpose behind it was so nobody could ever silence them ever again.
Yep.
You know, they would always have a place for their content. And they sold that shit off so many times.
Oh, they sold out. As soon as Vince McMahon wasn't at the helm anymore, you knew fucking they were going to double, triple, quadruple dip, whatever they could for profit.
Yep.
It's all they're doing is about. Yeah, they're doing it.
And they're doing it. And they're doing it. And there's, hey, it's a business. I get it. But it's just the whole purpose of the network and how it started is just long lost and gone. Yep. And I guarantee you there's a lot of people that would still pay $10 a month just to watch the old stuff in the vault.
Oh, absolutely.
I remember I'd love if ESPN brought back like an AWA style promotion on they would do it like I think it was like 4:00 in the afternoon every day. You'd have like AWA on, or you had Global Wrestling on there. It was awesome.
Yep.
That's how I started seeing different guys, outside of the WWF. Was watching on ESPN when I was a kid. When I'd come home from school, flipping through the channels, and you see these two, douchebags and hoods on there, and you look at them, and I remember who they were. They were the Texas Hangmen. That was their name. Yep. The Texas Hangmen. And then they just you're like, oh man, this isn't WWE. Boom. Looking something different, like another wrestling show. And then you'd see the AWA classics at times. That was always fun.
So I actually want to touch on something before we answer this question.
Okay.
It's speculated that Vince might show up for John Cena's last match. I don't think he's gonna, but I definitely think you'll see Donald Trump there.
Think so?
Oh yeah. What about you? You think Vince will show up?
No. I would love him to, though.
Oh, I would too. I think he would stick it to him. Just buy a fucking ticket. Buy a front row ticket. Who gives a shit?
He should have, dude. Like, that's such a way to stick it to people.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that...
But I'm wondering almost if the federal government has some order on him where he can't, until the investigation concludes because the money he used from the company. Maybe he can't go anywhere near them.
There's no criminal charges against him.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's no criminal charges against him. I think it's more out of respect for the product and just the way that he is. But he'd love to. I think it'd be a great fuck you moment to them to just buy out the whole front row.
I'd bring the biggest Bluetooth speaker I could to play No Chance in Hell.
Oh, absolutely. Or hire the fucking guy that's running the the system.
Yeah, hijack it with a Bluetooth or something.
Yeah. Fuck no, just pay the guy off, man. Pay him off. And
It'd be a fucking epic moment. Brock Lesnar got to fucking come back, and he was involved in the same.
Why can't Vince?
Why can't Vince?
Why can't he? Come on, dude. If No Chance
hit one last moment before he fucking rides off in the sunset and dies.
If there's anybody that should be there for Cena's last moment, it's Vince McMahon.
Yep.
Vince McMahon strapped the rocket to John Cena's ass for so long when everybody hated him. Before it was popular to cheer for him again, when people hated his guts. I mean, I remember years ago when we started doing the show together, we didn't even want to talk about WWE anymore because we were so sick of John Cena.
Not just that, but like Vince did it, the Attitude Era died, and then you had to put a rocket ship on somebody, and it was almost like he handpicked John Cena for that ruthless aggression moment. He had him slap the shit out of Kurt Angle, which everybody was shocked at that. They were like, who the fuck is this newcomer guy that fucking slapped the shit out of Kurt Angle? That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And John Cena even got respect from The Undertaker, So
listen, and Cena's not I heard him on Rogan. I mentioned the other night talking about Vince and stuff like that. I mean, Vince, would they let him in the building? If he was coming? Like, you'd have to plot this as a secret somehow.
Yep.
And that's going to be hard. But if anybody's got the money to get snuck into the building, it's Vince McMahon.
Oh, yeah. Oh, are you kidding?
Yeah. I mean, He doesn't give a shit. He'll pay somebody off enough money to get anything he wants in this lifetime.
You think Triple H wouldn't look the other fucking way for his father-in-law? Like, come on.
No, I think Triple H is a bitch, dude, and I think that he would totally be,
Put
Vince is here.
Yeah.
Vince is here, Steffi, go get him.
Steffi, go get him.
Steffi, Daddy's here.
Yeah.
That fucking cocksucker hijacked his company, bro.
Yep.
Him and Nick Khan and all them, they pulled a coup
right out from under him, dude.
Right out from under him. Right out from
then
the creator.
Stabbed him in the fucking back on his way out.
And had no shame in
See you later, Daddy.
Yep. The biggest, greasiest scumbag of them all is Nick Khan, man.
Oh,
dude. That dude is a fucking shyster.
Well, and it kind of makes you think, right? Like, if Nick Khan is that way, what about The Rock?
I don't know.
Birds of a feather, man.
Flock together.
Yeah, they do.
Vince McMahon returns dressed like Clint Eastwood in a spaghetti western, goes Stone Cold Steve Austin on corporate board members.
I'm sorry, but Vince McMahon needs to dye the fucking top part of his hair.
Not come out looking like Pepe Le Pew and shit.
The guy looks like he's like from the macabre or something. Yeah. Like he's about to write fucking poetry, Jesus Christ.
Bro, just let him just go back to natural Vince color. We all know he's 80 now and shit. The dude still looks great.
You got gray hair, man. You don't need to fucking put little fucking black lines right here in your fucking Pepe Le Pew haircut.
Yeah. Dude, give that guy 5 minutes on the mic, man. No cutting him on
You know what he should do, and this would be fucking hilarious, is he should get the orangest fucking spray tan he can and then dye his hair fucking blonde. I'd die, dude. I would fucking die if he tried to look like Trump.
That would be tremendous, bro. They need to let him come back and then just give him an open mic for 5 minutes. He's going to give you the best shit ever.
I want him to write a fucking tell-all book so bad.
It'd be the best is if he somehow fucking weaseled his way back in and got power again over there and was able to get back on TV. And then he comes out and starts a modern day Mr. McMahon at 80 years old against the people that fucked him. Dude,
I'll bet you he's got some skeletons in the closet on Triple H and Nick Khan. Like they've probably had some wild ass fucking parties with cocaine buffets and shit like that. Like, dude, it for a fact. Like Triple H is not a clean nosed individual like he says he is.
He likes to portray that shit, right?
Yeah, there's got to be a vice somewhere. There's got to be something on these people.
Listen, if you think Vince McMahon is going to go down with these assholes who snuffed him out of his own creation, all the money they have in this world is because
they call him the disgraced WWE owner now. Like when they talk about him in interviews, disgraced is what
his own fucking daughter sold him down the river, man. His son-in-law, who he brought in and groomed.
It's crazy because it's kind of like a WWF storyline.
It is. That's why you should make this into a storyline.
Yeah, it'd be perfect, wouldn't it?
We need something new. There's no more Cena retirement tour shit. We want the bloodline.
I think that would be one of the things that would save WWE because that's a storyline that hits so real. But
you know what? You could make Vince the babyface in everybody's eyes again. And you make them forget everything that they read in those fucking text messages and stuff.
I don't know if I could ever forget that, but yeah.
Well, a lot of people
the poop moment was
I know.
I mean, the sex toy
that's true. That's true. But you could
make
people.
Dude, he's probably got a fucking sex toy that's named Vader Time.
But you could make people sympathize with him again. And just say, fucking, he's just a creepy fuck. Forget about hating him.
Love toy.
Dude, Cactus Jack.
That's some punishment there, probably.
Oh God, Ahmed Johnson is one of them that does the Pearl River plunge into him.
Names his whip stable.
But you could make him into a baby face again in people's eyes. That everybody
I'm gonna give him the Golga.
The Golga.
You're gonna give him the Kurgan.
The Kurgan. Give him the Jackal.
Oh God!
What was the other guy's name?
Recon?
Yeah.
Jesus. You could go all night with this.
Jesus. Can you imagine the fucking sex toy fucking Hall of Fame he's probably got in his fucking house?
Good Lord.
Jesus Christ.
Probably make Epstein shit look fucking like child's play. Oh, wait, it was.
This is conspiracy, but speculation is Triple H seduced Steph so the Click could have the power in the WWF, WWE. We are all possibly seeing it on a corporate level.
Dude, it was totally a coup d'etat, bro. Like, they totally snaked his company out from under him.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much they could do with this. If they really wanted to do good business, they could do something really good with this. Long-term storytelling with Vince McMahon is coming back as a babyface, and the guy that was blown up in the limo years ago was the old real evil Mr. McMahon. This Vince McMahon's the good guy. It's been hiding away for years, locked in an attic. I like that type of story that you could tell with him. You could make him sympathetic by getting his kid and the guy that he helped, that married his daughter, that he brought into his family, that took his company, that snake in the grass, Nick Khan, who he brought into the company, gave him all the power in the world, made him a fucking billionaire nearly, just like him. And
not just that, but think about The Rock. Like when I think about The Rock, Vince literally took The Rock and mentored him on how the business works. Because The Rock came in there and he asked him for a astronomical amount of money, and Vince sat him down and was like, "Hey, this isn't how it works, man. I pay Stone Cold Steve Austin $1 million a year. So you need to go home and think about, the business and everything. You need to learn it and then come back and talk to me." So The Rock came in and said, "Vince, I thought about what you said, and I want you to match what you pay Stone Cold." And Vince said, "Now you understand the business," and he offered him $8 million a year. Vince mentored The Rock. All these people, Triple H, he mentored him in the back and all these things. His daughter, he brought her in. Shane McMahon brought him in. All his inner circle always made money and everything like that. And I'm not saying Vince McMahon's a saint. Don't get me wrong here.
No.
Like I'm not trying to create an imaginary world where he was not, he didn't cause a lot of this shit. But the way he was done in the end is what I'm talking about. Like he was pushed out of his own creation, and then now he's watching record profits be made off of it, and he got snuffed out.
I did it for The Rock. I did it for The Rock.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, he did. No doubt about it. It happened. I mean, it's pretty remarkable how smart they did it. Can you imagine the maneuvering that went on to make this happen?
They didn't even have to have any lawsuits.
No.
They just said, "Well, you're out, bud. See ya."
A guy like that isn't ever going to go out without...
Vince was supposed to die in that chair,
Yeah. In his mind, he was, for sure.
He was supposed to.
Yeah. And, if you
it's
think...
like Lieutenant Dan, man. They fucking Lieutenant Dan.
Yeah. 100%. And if you think that he's not going to want to come back and get retribution for that, when has Vince McMahon never got retribution for people?
I'll tell you what, if he ever becomes terminally ill, they better watch the fuck out, because he's coming for him.
He's going to call up Bob Costas and go for another hostile interview with him and air everything out there. Stephen A. Smith's going to get that exclusive or some shit, man. There's going to be
that. Stephen A. Smith's a goof.
He is a goof, bro.
He's a fucking goof.
Hold on, we got to cue it up for that one. Because that's the truth. Some big name will get that interview if Vince is going to do it. Like 100%, Vince is going to give it to some big name.
No, Mark Kerr's a fucking goof. He's a fucking goof. Jeez, anybody who knows him knows he's a goof.
What do you think about The Rock apparently playing him in a role about his life, I guess?
Rock's a dumbass to do that. He should pick somebody better to represent. Kerr ain't the one. Drink the water. Kerr's a fucking goof.
In what way?
What a guy.
Dude, Don Fry.
What a guy. What a guy.
Don Fry's the man.
I get shit. The guys send me fucking Don Fry fucking clips and shit all the time throughout the week now, man.
So great.
Joey just hit me up with one. I think it was yesterday or today or whatever. It's just different Don Fry-isms. You send them over. I love getting the Don Fry-isms all the time sent to me.
Yep.
I love those ones. What else you got for modern news for the week or topics you want to talk about, brother?
Well, how do you feel? I mean, a lot of people are upset about it, and WWE's getting backlash about it. That Gunther is he's the final guy, man. That's who they're picking to go against John Cena. What do you think about that? Do you think he's a good fit? Do you think he should be the one?
Like we said earlier, we were talking a little bit about it earlier. I think he's the logical choice because you got to elevate somebody from it, You got to elevate somebody from it. Gunther's fit perfectly for it, Yeah. He fits perfectly for that role. Gunther's been a team player,
Yeah,
he does anything that's asked of him, and
he's a model. He's a model company guy too. He doesn't cause any problems. He doesn't have any enhancing steroid, violations or anything like that on their doping stuff. Pretty much he's been a model WWE superstar for them. So, and he's always done good business. He's had the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion, and God, I think it's forever.
Mm-hmm.
He's been a heavyweight champion. They've built Gunther up properly, I think. He's one of the ones that they're actually doing right with. I would like to see his promos be a little bit different, because it sounds like he says the same thing every time he's about to have like a go home before the pay-per-view or the PLE.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to see him change that up a bit. But other than that, Gunther's a solid wrestler, I think.
I think he's a great choice for it. Some people are some people love him, some people don't. I don't understand why a lot of people don't like him, to be honest with you, because I think he's great. And I think he's just entertaining in every capacity. Is he a little monotone at some points when he talks? Sure. But
yeah,
he gives a great promo, in my opinion, too.
Yeah, he does.
He gives a great promo. He's a fucking fantastic worker in the ring. He's believable. I mean, he was undefeated for 2 years or 3 years as the European champ.
Yeah, and you always wondered who was going to beat him,
Yeah, and it was like nobody could ever take him out.
Right.
Nobody could ever take him out and beat him. I think he's a great choice, and I don't really understand why people hate it so much. I think he's a fantastic choice. I'm always a fan.
And just a quick update: LA Knight has years left on his WWE deal. So
okay, so good. So he's going to be sticking around for a while.
Yeah. Yep.
Good. Real good.
Mm-hmm.
Real good. I want to see them give him an opportunity.
Yep.
He deserves it, like we mentioned earlier. But Gunther,
Nikki Bella's dating Waller Green.
Grayson Waller?
Grayson Waller, excuse me.
What?
Yeah.
Ew.
Grayson Waller.
He's a fucking goof, isn't he?
Yep.
He's a fucking goof and then some.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see Matt Hardy and Dax Harwood were fighting too?
I did see that.
Yeah, so Hardy thinks that some tweet that Dax made was in relation about 5-star with something with Dave Meltzer. This guy fucking just creates problems, doesn't he?
Yeah, for sure.
So
check this out. John Cena signs a brand new 5-year contract with the WWE. He's not going to be an on-screen role or a wrestling talent or anything like that, but he's going to be an ambassador and work on the YouTube content.
Good for him. Good. I didn't think he was going to be going anywhere anyways.
No.
He's going to always have a job there for life.
Yeah.
In any way. But, I mean, he's a big Hollywood star now, too.
He'll be like Stone Cold. He'll show up every now and then, come out, and do his little fucking towel thing, and then run down the ramp, come in, pop up, and, pump up people for the PLE coming up or some shit.
Yeah, come out once in a while, give everybody, give your song a dance to people, have fun. He's not getting in the ring again. He's never doing it again.
He's done. He can't, dude. You look at John Cena, and that's what I wanted to ask you next. Do you think when this is all said and done, that John Cena looks back on his final run with the company and goes, it was what it was supposed to be?
Realistically?
Yeah.
No. I can't see how he does.
If I were him, I wouldn't be satisfied with this last run, especially the heel turn. The heel turn totally was a flop, and a lot of the responsibility of that heel turn being a flop was, the fallout with the Travis Scott deal, and then of course The Rock. In my opinion, those two things killed that storyline right off the bat. Then you sent them scrambling because, you have The Rock come out and doing these hand signals and all this shit, and there was no payoff for it. There was no payoff. So for me, the John Cena heel turn was fucking garbage, man. It's forgetful.
I think the majority of his retirement tour was garbage.
The Dominic Mysterio part, I think, was the top part.
Agreed. I think it was the best part of it. I mean, there were some cool things to see.
Any fucking purpose.
Yeah, I mean, there were some cool things to see. Like, you got him and Orton together one last time. Who cares?
Yeah, but the way they did those matches were the same. The way they did the Orton match and the way they did the Punk match were the exact same. Yeah. They had him low blow them, toss them the belt, and then kick him in the nuts, and then he won. It was the same finish both times, That's
what I'm saying. We should have seen them like in a different capacity with them if you were going to have him take them on. Do like they did with AJ Styles with him. Make it mean something. It's not just cheap chicken shit stuff.
See, I personally thought that Cena should have lost to Punk when they went against each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I liked the storyline they were telling. I liked the promo that Punk gave that said basically, I need to go to that dark place because that heavyweight championship corrupts you, and I'm the most corrupted one of all with that belt. And I felt like that would have been a perfect transition to get Punk as a heel.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I think we got a while for that.
Yeah.
I think we got a while for that.
He's moving way too much merch for them to make him a heel right now.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. Yeah, I agree with you, Rand. I don't think he's ever coming out in shorts and the towel and all that shit no more. That's done. You know, I mean, they'll still sell the merch and crap, you know, just to make money, but I don't think they're ever going to do anything with him in that again. And I think that's him retiring, you know, hanging those things up, that he's not going to do that.
Yep.
And I think he's going to look back and, you know, see a lot of moments that where it went wrong in this. I don't know if Hogan, you know, dying in the real world was part of it when it went down for him, but you know, I mean, that hurt people for sure, but I don't even think Hogan's death got enough press.
That death too is just so weird to me. The more I read about Hogan's death, the more I question things, you know, how shit's been handled, you know, his coronary report, just the whole fucking thing is just weird.
Yeah. The Brock Lesnar stuff, Rand, I agree, man. That was garbage just to have him squash Cena.
It still is garbage. Even in the War Game shit with him, it was horrible.
Yeah. I mean, what was the purpose of him squashing Cena?
There wasn't any. They should have set up a storyline between him and Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
They should have gotten each other's way in the War Games match, and Brock cost them the match or something like that. It would have been a hell of a lot better storyline. You have Braun and Brock go against each other at Mania. Braun goes over, then you have Braun set up for the next year, go on a total warpath, and then you build him up to be a champion. That's how they should have booked it.
Like, what was the purpose of it? Why would you do it? What did it benefit from this?
It didn't benefit anything.
Nothing. There was nobody. Nobody gave a fuck about John Cena and Brock Lesnar's feud they had years ago. Nobody gave a fuck about that.
Not just that, but you know, you have Brock go over on the Undertaker streak. It makes zero fucking sense. You know, you have John Cena on this run, then you have Brock come back and you have him steamroll him. Like Brock Lesnar, to me, all his storylines have never made sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you go back and look at Brock Lesnar's storylines. The only one that was probably compelling and good was the one with Kurt Angle and the one with Eddie Guerrero.
Mm-hmm.
Those are Brock's most memorable moments.
You didn't like him fucking taking Zach Gowen in a fucking wheelchair and throwing him down the flight of stairs?
But I'm serious when I say that, though. Like think of all his storylines, all his accolades, all his shit. The only two that I was ever invested in was those shit with Eddie Guerrero and the shit with Kurt Angle. That was it. Other than that, and then I'll throw him a bone here. The Goldberg rematch, not the first one, but the rematch.
That's what I was gonna say. You weren't invested in that?
Yeah,
that was a good moment for him.
Yeah. So there was 3 times.
What about him and
where I got excited for Brock? No,
you weren't cool with that.
No.
I didn't like him winning over Taker and beating.
He should have never been the one to end the fucking streak. Never.
No.
Bray Wyatt should have been it. You know, given what we know now with Bray Wyatt passing away, I still would have picked Bray Wyatt.
Brock Lesnar's always just been a guy that people wanted to see fight people, you know, and they wanted to see him in the ring. He's an entertaining character when you let him loose a little bit and act like a fucking goofball. Like, he's actually a pretty entertaining guy.
The Brock Party was one of my favorites.
Brock Party was great with him with the fucking boombox dancing and shit.
When he came in with Hulk Hogan, I always use that meme on people. Party's over, Grandpa. You know?
I mean, Brock Lesnar is one of those guys that's unfuckwithable, man. You know? Yeah. Like, who's going to fuck with that guy? All right?
Yeah.
No, It ain't going to work. He can do whatever he wants. Which gets him over to people where you can bring him on every few months and let him fucking have some crazy match with somebody where he just kills them, I guess, you know. But it didn't need to be John Cena. Did he
ever have a storyline with Shawn Michaels?
Brock and Shawn? I don't think so. Not that I remember.
They should have did that. That would have been a good element.
He wasn't around long, though, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he just wasn't around very long. He was only around for I think like 3 years, maybe 4 years on the first run.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, then he was an immature baby. And that's why he had the problems he did. And that's why there was contractual issues. And, you know, he was trying to play professional football. And then
the dude's such a fucking, like, condescending prick, though. I'll never forget when I watched when he had the Universal title, the red belt.
Yeah.
And then he was walking through Gorilla and he threw the belt at Vince McMahon and threw a fit.
Yeah.
That's Brock Lesnar. You know,
What was that over?
it was something to do with the finish of the match. He wasn't happy about it, and Vince was trying to stop him at the curtain because it was dog shit, and he threw the belt at him basically.
That was the best though, because Vince clapped right back at him. You fucking asshole!
Yeah.
Like people would say a lot about Vince, but Vince has balls
Piggy.
too. Yeah, hold on. I mean,
I would have loved for him to say that to fucking Paul Heyman. Quiet, Piggy.
Like he stood right up when Brock threw that thing at him. And, you fucking asshole!
That's right. That's right, Rand. He did break Shawn Michaels' arm, and then it set up the Triple H feud. You're absolutely right. I remember now.
Gotcha. I don't remember much of that. So
yeah,
I don't remember much of that.
That was when they did the SummerSlam match, and it was called the Perfect Storm.
Okay, I enjoyed Brock's build up with the Big Show back in the day when he slammed him through the ring or something like that, right?
Yeah, I have a piece of that mat actually.
Do you really? That's cool. Storyline between Brock Lesnar and R-Truth would have been a kick-ass storyline when Brock was champ a couple years ago. He loves R-Truth, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's openly said it. Like he just loves working with him, and you could see him like the time that they had R-Truth interrupt him and about joining the Royal Rumble or whatever it is, and he figures out that Brock is in there.
He's like, my bad.
I'm coming after you at the Royal Rumble on Saturday, Paul Heyman. And then you just see Brock Lesnar just bust out fucking laughing.
Yeah.
Brock looks like a funny guy though too. He's just, he's one of those guys.
I'm not saying I don't want him in wrestling. I'm just saying they have booked him poorly,
I'll say one of the biggest pops I've ever heard was when Brock came back that night after WrestleMania with Cena. Yeah. And that fucking place. I remember that's when
he had his hat or his cowboy hat.
No, his first time when he came back.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about.
I mean, the first time that he came back, like just there had been rumors about it, I think it was like 2012 or something like that had happened.
It was 2012. I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, it was like 2012 or so. And then there had been a little bit of rumors, but people thought that door was way closed, that it was never going to be reopened again. And people thought Brock just fucking hated wrestling and shit. And I think he kind of does, but, he loves the money of it. And when John's doing it, I remember I was watching that thing and I was like, oh, here he comes. I go, this is the perfect moment. He's holding it around, is anybody going to come out, And then fans are probably expecting some bullshit fucking one, lame ass, call up for the night after WrestleMania, and then Brock music's hit, and that place just blew the roof off of it.
Yep.
What a moment, man.
What a moment.
Yeah.
I'd say his and CM Punk's were the most unexpected returns.
Yeah. They were two of the most awesome ones for sure.
Yep.
A third one could be if they find a way to get Edge back sometime soon.
I don't want to see it, man. I'm done with Edge. I think he needs to retire. He's over the hump, and he's just injury prone now. It doesn't matter what you put him in. He's always going to be risking injury because he's old, man. And, he had an abusive career.
Oh,
those TLC matches, the chair shots,
he was retired for like a decade, right? Because of his neck.
And he should go back to it. You made enough money. You did all you could. Multi-time champion. You held just about every title. Then you went over in AEW and you were living on a prayer, and look at you now. You're injured again. How many times did you get injured over in AEW? 3 times, 2 times in the WWE on his return?
Yeah.
It's just
listen, I'm not a big Edge fan by any means. I'm not against
I was
him.
Back in the day,
I never was. I was never really big into Edge, I always respected him. I loved him as a tag team wrestler way more than I did as a singles competitor. Rated R Superstar Edge was awesome, but he's never been my guy. That's kind of, my feelings on Edge, but I also respect what a legend he is and the accomplishments that he's made. And I think he has to end his career with WWE, in some way. Not saying it's going to be a long run. I think it's
he's already a Hall of Famer, isn't he?
Yeah, I believe so. No, is he? I don't know. Let me see. I don't know if he's in. I know him and Christian should be in as a tag team.
Oh, 100%. If they don't, that'll be that's a problem.
Yes, he is one. He was inducted.
Is Christian a Hall of Famer?
No, he's not. Edge was inducted in 2012.
Edge and Christian should go in both as a tag team, and Christian should go in by himself too.
I think they'll definitely bring them in as a tag team one day when they're both long retired and they're both not working anymore or signed anywhere. I think they'll definitely bring them in. That they would be to me, if you brought Edge and Christian in, they would be like your headliner for that year. Like, that tag team was just one of the greatest of all time.
Oh, absolutely.
And both had wonderful careers as single stars, too. Edge, of course, had a much better career, but I think Christian Cage's work in AEW has been the best of his career.
The father.
He's the father we all need. You know, the father we all need, man. What lessons he teaches us to, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, he is. 2012 ran. We saw that in 2012. 2000 is when he broke his or when he went in. No, it was 2012 they said, but that might have been when he broke his neck, like right around there. I mean, he came back from some severe issues.
Yeah, he did.
To think he never, in my opinion, should have come back.
No.
Did you see this about Balls Mahoney's family?
No.
Oh, this is terrible news for the holidays, but hopefully they're going to have a happy ending out of this. So after a decade, I guess he's been gone about almost 10 years now, but
Yep.
his ex-wife, or his wife, at the time, his longtime partner, whatever she was, Gail, and his son, Chris, who's a senior in high school, they were on the brink of being evicted from their house. They were served an eviction notice and only given a few days to get out, and they had no money to be able to pay for their rent. She's wheelchair bound and, trying to get disability benefits and isn't getting them right now. Kids in senior in high school, and they told them they had a few days notice to get out. So somebody had made a GoFundMe for them, and it looks like they're about to reach their goal already. But
I bet you Chris Jericho.
He donated $2,000.
Yep.
He donated $2,000.
Chris Jericho is the fucking man when it comes to that shit.
Yep. He gives to so many people in need and never mentions it one time.
Yep.
With the shit that he's done for so many people to help their lives, $2,000 is a small amount compared to what I've seen him give on there.
Oh, dude, I've seen him give $10,000 right off the rip.
I think there's a few that I've seen where he's given $50,000 or $100,000 to people. You know, but that stuff never gets brought up, right?
Nope.
The good things that people do, the nice things that they do, but
yep.
Terrible for their family, man. I feel awful to hear that.
Yeah, I liked Balls Mahoney. I mean, I was never like a mega fan or anything like that, but Balls Mahoney was a good act.
And I'm not a big, believer in GoFundMe. I think it can be completely misused by a lot of people, and then there's a lot of people that really need it. Sure. In these cases, I'm glad to see, that somebody's getting some help that actually needs it.
Absolutely.
There's no reason that some poor woman in a wheelchair should not have a place to friggin' live.
Yep.
I mean, that's just awful to hear that, especially coming up, right around the holidays, man.
Yep.
Sting's son wrestled before AEW Dynamite, Richie.
I told you, man. I told you he was going to. He was training with Darby Allin. I think he's got a bright future. We may have another generation of the Stinger, man.
He looks just like his dad, doesn't he?
He does, and he moves just like his dad too.
He does when he hits the Stinger splash and shit on him.
Yep.
Oh, dude, has he been working with Booker T?
Darby Allin and Booker T.
Darby and Booker. All right, two. Whatever people think of Darby and his style, I don't care. He's still a great worker, and Booker the same. I mean, Booker's got one of the best schools in the world for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Look at the stars that he's brought up. Jacob Fatu.
So Edge actually mentioned why he walked away from WWE and he signed with AEW. I just saw this as some scroll. He said
it was because they didn't believe. It was like what Jericho said.
So he said Copeland opened up about how the creative shift in WWE from Vince McMahon to Triple H created uncertainty at the worst possible moment, right when his contract was up. And he said, for a while I was there, I didn't know who was in charge. I just didn't know. It was a little confusing. It was right as my contract was coming up. So, my contract was up. I negotiated with Vince, then Vince was gone. So I was like, well, what does this mean? He goes, even though WWE told him the offer was still good, the shift in management made things feel unfamiliar and very hard to trust them. It was like, okay, well, your contract offer is still there. Okay, I just got to go think about it this now because, I've always dealt with Vince, and that's just always the way since my second contract on. It's always been with Vince. Okay, what do you think? Shake hands, that's it? And then he goes on to talk about more uncertainty, and he says, I'm talking to Jay, that's Christian. He's talking to FTR, he's talking to Jericho, he talked to a bunch of the guys there, and they said to him, man, you'd have a blast over here. And then at that point, he said at his stage of his life, he felt like having fun was the only real option. My oldest daughter, put it as I can't even say this word, consistently. I know I butchered that probably. She goes, go have fun with Uncle Jay. So that's what it is. I mean, we're too old at this point not to have fun. So he clarified that it wasn't a jab at WWE. It was just the right move for him mentally, emotionally, and creatively.
Makes sense. You know?
It does. Because that was just a tumultuous fucking time for them at that point, right?
Yeah.
You know, I
Big
mean, that
power
was
shift.
huge. You know, Vince is there, then he's gone. Then he comes back and just tears everything up again. You know, and then they find out all the shit that's going on, and he's gone again. You know, so I don't know. You know, Triple H gets a lot of roses all the time from people, but if you've been watching the product a lot lately, and me and you have been watching as much as we can, I got to say this, man. I think he gets too much credit sometimes.
Yep.
He writes some hot fucking garbage. Excuse my fucking French.
He does.
Hot garbage, bro. Like,
it's not consistent. It's not slow burn. It's all rush.
Yep.
You know, overstimulate you with Rhea Ripley to where you get fucking sick of her. You know, overstimulate you with this guy, overstimulate you with that guy to where you get too much of them and it's just burnt out quick. They don't know how to build stars anymore, and they don't know how to do the slow burn.
You mentioned in a good way, and this is a great way to think about it with him. He latches on to people, Triple H. He latches on to one, maybe two people, you know? Yeah. And I know that's typically how things are done, but he shoves them down your fucking throat so much that you eventually get so sick of them after a while.
Look at Rhea Ripley, prime example.
She was the biggest thing on television for about a year, you know, maybe a year and a half or so. And then people got so tired of her because as soon as she broke up with Dom, everybody knew what would happen.
Charlotte Flair, same thing.
Yep. Shove her down your throat for a while. Becky Lynch, Charlotte, Ronda, gone. You know, gone.
Farting the wind.
Ronda's gone. Charlotte hasn't had any real direction in years, you know. Becky Lynch is like a bipolar character that's always so up and down all the time. Come on, man. If you don't see the trend on this guy's booking, I don't know what to say for it. And I'm a WWE guy.
Me too.
I'm a WWE guy. I love it. But fair is fair, right?
Fair is fair. And when you see patterns like that, you know, there's a huge problem in creative. And the fact of it is, too, is like I feel like WWE, you know, they're not even there. The filter is so low with these guys, with their talent that they bring through NXT and stuff. Whoever they choose to be the golden boy on there, it's like the propaganda machine, man. They pump these people up so big, and then when they get to the big time and they try to like pass these people over on us as these next stars and all this stuff, you know, look at it. Seth Rollins, all these different people that have come up and done that, and you think that they're going to be the next one that's like the Stone Cold, The Rock, the whoever. And they're not. They fall short. You know, Bo Dallas being an NXT champion, Sami Zayn, all these different guys. Nobody can really take that torch nowadays and be the locker room leader that was The Undertaker or Stone Cold or The Rock or whatever. They don't have those guys anymore. There's no direction in the locker room. Now you have John Cena leaving, right? And this is only going to send it into more chaos. Who do you think in the locker room right now could take hold of that and be like an Undertaker, you know, locker room general? There isn't any left.
It's hard to see, you know. I don't see it there either. You know, I mean, the only other major star that's there right now is Roman Reigns, and he's only a part-timer, you know.
He's going to leave too soon.
And he's going to leave
in a very Styles is fucking leaving. Like all these guys, you know, it's crazy to me when you look at WWE, and there was a chart that came out. And back when we were watching in the Attitude Era, you know, Monday Night War era, the average age of a WWE superstar was mid-20s, and the ones that were retiring were in their 30s, like mid-30s. The average superstar age that's on top of the card now in the main events and stuff like that is 45 years old.
Crazy.
That's a huge fucking problem.
It is a big problem.
Think about The Rock when he won his first championship. He was the youngest champion before Randy Orton to do it. You know, that was the kind of stars and people they were trying to shift into, was young talent, new ideas, new storylines. They're stuck right now. They have a huge problem. Everybody's retiring at once. You got CM Punk, Brock Lesnar, John Cena, all these guys, they're all retiring. Who do you have to step in their place?
It's crazy to think too, because like that's a year above me. I'm about to be 44. I can't imagine at my age. I mean, I've got
No.
so many injuries anyways from my career in the military and stuff. So I was hugely banged up. These guys are banged up for their careers. I can't imagine being 45 years old or 44 almost for me and doing what these guys are doing, where you're beating the shit out of your body, you're traveling like that every single day, and that's who you're relying on to be the direction of your company.
They're
Yeah,
in
they're
big
great to have
trouble.
around, but you
Yeah.
need to develop young people. You need to bring out
Yeah.
new stars.
They're in big trouble because all these people collectively are retiring at once, And when you go into negotiations for deals like Netflix, ESPN, all these things, you're not going to have these marquee fucking names anymore. I don't care if they're your brand ambassador that you're going to wheel out every fucking 6 months to put out there with a towel that says the time is now or whatever. That's not going to get you those deals anymore. Your evaluation of your company without John Cena, without Brock Lesnar, without the AJ Styles, without all these guys, it's going to be dick.
But the thing is too, is this seems like this is their new moniker that they're kind of doing, where they're bringing people in to do these retirement, send offs. And it's great. I love it that they're giving them a little bit, of time, but they're making these the focal points of their storylines after the bloodline stuff was done. This is what their idea was, to bring whole year of John Cena's retirement tour. We're going to get a whole year of that. We had Goldberg's retirement tour at one point. I know it was
Now we're
much
going to
shorter.
get Jericho's.
Yeah, now it's going to be AJ Styles is retiring this year. Let's bring in Jericho now. He's going to have a retirement year and a retirement tour. Oh, Edge is about ready to get it done with his AEW contract. Let's get a year out of Edge. Brock Lesnar. I mean, how many fucking retirement tours are we going to do? Like, I think it's nice to give people a final match and it's a few month buildup, but this isn't how you bring in and generate people, because what's it going to be? Oh, they're going to they're going to wrestle a young buck at the end, and some young stud that's going to come in. Well, if you're not making them the focal point of the show shortly after they retire these people and making them the actual storyline of the show and what they're doing, then what the fuck was the point of what you did?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense. You can't have there's always going to be one big storyline that's driving the show.
The biggest problem with WWE's developmental right now, and I'll say it until they change it, is you don't let the artist be the artist anymore. You're filtering the artist, the wrestler, the performer so much so, and taking so many tools away, and you're putting them in this combine of like, this is what you can say, this is the time that you have to say it, and that's it.
Yeah.
You can't go off a script. If you go off a script, you're getting in trouble, and then you'll get fired if you do it. Dude, could you imagine the old promos with like Stone Cold Steve Austin with Austin 316? Nobody could have wrote that.
Yeah.
He had to go out there and take a chance on himself and say that, and it take off. The what? The Rock with the, do you smell what the Rock is cooking and stuff? That was all genuine shit that happened inside of them. They made that happen. They were the artists that did that. You can't put a guy in a fucking office and write stories out for the whole year and then expect the guy to go out there and have the same passion as the writer. It's not going to connect.
Yeah. When you're forcing somebody, that's what my problem is with Braun Breaker's promos. Some people love him right now, that and he's been improving. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he hasn't been improving.
They're so manufactured though.
Everything. It's like, I'm gonna come out and I'm the goddamn best in the world, and I'm gonna spear you and blah blah blah, and I'm the toughest dog. And if you don't like that, bite me, bitch. And he'll throw the thing down, and that's like his thing. It's just it's this scripted thing when you hear him.
And you could tell his promos are like so controlled by Triple H.
100%.
It's totally shit he would say.
You want to hear the real Scott Steiner promo come out of Braun Breaker, and like Scott used to do. Scott was not a good talker in regards to the fact that he could make things flow right, but he knew how to play off of what he had. Raw emotion, adrenaline, and saying whatever the fuck you want because you're Big Papa Pump, and what are you going to fucking do to me? Yep. Let Braun Breaker do that if you want to make him a star, man. Let that kid fucking go. What are you going to do that's going to offend people that bad? That's what everybody's worried about all the time. Fucking offending people. What's he going to do that bad?
There's one guy that I wish wouldn't have went down the road he did, because I saw a lot in his promos and stuff, and he had that creativity and he wasn't afraid to step out the lines and stuff like that. I'm not saying I was a huge fan of his stuff or anything. I just saw a lot in his character and who he is, and I see a lot of it in Montez Ford too. But who I was going to say is Velveteen Dream. I
Yeah,
thought he was very creative, had a great character and
very
stuff.
good.
It sucks the route that he went down in his personal life.
He would have been a star, man.
He would have been a megastar.
Dude could talk, he could work, he played that androgynous character so
Yeah.
well. We were
It was
huge
like Jimi
fans.
Hendrix and Prince mixed.
Yeah.
You know,
We were huge fans of him. Remember all the matches we'd watch, with the
Yep.
takeovers and stuff that they'd have him
him and
on?
Matt Riddle would tear the
Yep.
fucking house down.
Every show, and in the tag team division with Gargano and Ciampa
Yep.
over there was nothing better than what NXT was doing at that time.
Yeah,
They were
yeah.
killing it. And Velveteen Dream, it was like we would always say this in the old shows when we would watch it, and we're watching him, and we're like, "What's going to be the match of the night tonight?" We'd always say, "Let's find who's Velveteen Dream facing," because you
Yep.
knew he was going to
Anybody he was going with, he was
Yeah.
going to tear it down.
It's a
And his
shame.
promos were good too.
Yeah, it's a fucking shame, man. Talk about a
Mhm.
wasted talent, and that's his
Dude.
own fault.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't buy any of his bullshit that he says.
Oh, I don't either.
He was totally doing that shit,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's been proven of that. But, there are people like that, Enzo Amore, another one, that was just the hype train with that guy was huge. And just wasted talent, no direction, nobody there really to filter these young guys that are having fame thrown at them and money thrown at them so quickly. And there's no one to guide the locker room. That's my whole point.
Yep.
All these guys probably, the Undertaker was that guy for a long time. He was the guy that kept everybody in line, and you would let them fuck around just enough, but as soon as they went too far, he'd bring them back. You don't have that in the locker room now.
Rand brings up a really good point, and it's really true. He's talking about the new generation energy that they had back in the early 90s, where they really needed like the WCW to kick them in the balls, like as he said, and make a leader out of somebody in the locker room, and made them actually develop better characters. Because
Right.
and it's funny, I like the new generation too, bro, in its own weird way. Like I like it, even though it was cartoonish and goofy and a lot of that stuff. I used to have so much fun watching the show, and anytime we watched them through the years, I still like those ones. I think they're fun, but it wasn't going to get them to the next level as a business, and it wasn't going to do anything for them. People were tired and worn out on that shit. And the new generation, like Brandon mentioned, they were just kind of coasting along because they could, and they weren't doing well, but they were doing good enough to get by. They needed a boost from somebody to boot them in the ass like Bischoff did in 96, and actually you can go far back as 95 when, he started Nitro. And 96 is when it really took off, of course, with the NWO stuff. Like, where would WWE have been if it wasn't for Bischoff having the balls and the gumption to go against him and having this other rival promotion?
Well,
we thought we were going to have it, but we didn't. We didn't get it.
Bischoff with that interview where Vince basically told him he had no talent when he applied for WWE. That's what lit a fire under his ass to go over to WCW.
Yep.
So,
I mean, we need somebody out there to compete against him. I was really hoping it was going to be AEW. I really was.
They're the closest one.
They were, and they were starting out the gate great, as we always mention. They had it right, and then you know what happens to everybody when you're the fucking new shiny toys. You think that you can't do anything wrong, and
Tony Khan was the kiss of death for them.
100%.
He should have never got involved creatively. He should have always been the funding, and if they would have went the way it was supposed to be planned, where you had the Bucks and Cody Rhodes and Kenny Omega running the show, I think it would have. And I'm not saying the Young Bucks because I think they're dog shit, and you can totally tell that they're the ones feeding Tony Khan with a lot of these ideas. But Kenny Omega and Cody Rhodes, I think, running that company would have been phenomenal.
They should have had somebody in there that was an old school veteran who was
Jake
successful.
Roberts.
What's that?
Jake Roberts.
No, he's not a good businessman.
No?
I mean, Jake's great with creative. I'd love to see him help with the creative, of course. But what I'm saying is, from the business side of things, to really help the show, not only from the creative side, where you can have somebody working in creative that's really good at that, but then you got a good business person in there.
Shane McMahon.
Would have been Shane, and then there's two others that it could have been, and it should have been, was Jim Ross in the beginning and Eric Bischoff. And
Jim Ross didn't have the health. Eric Bischoff could have did it.
He could have, and he would have if Tony would have
and
asked.
He should have. Could you imagine seeing Eric Bischoff go out on fucking Turner Broadcasting again?
Yep. I mean, he did go on the show.
He was on AEW?
He was on AEW like 3 or 4 times.
Eric Bischoff.
In the beginning stages. Yeah. Remember he moderated the Jericho stuff?
I don't remember that.
Yeah. He had about 3 or 4 appearances on AEW.
Wow.
But you could have had him there guiding these guys like Kenny Omega, like Cody Rhodes, the Bucks, whoever he wants to be seeing and learning certain things. And then you have a guy like a Jim Ross in the back to help guide the creative, or a Jake Roberts in the back to guide the creative. And there's so many others they could have brought in.
Mick Foley.
Any of these guys are great choices. Have them do it for a few years and teach these guys, and then transfer the power over. That would have ultimately been the goal from the start. Eric would have done it in the beginning too. I guarantee you he would have done it in the beginning because they were on good terms. Yeah. He was doing his little things and he was fine and living a good life and having his podcast and making good money. He would have done it in a heartbeat to get back on there on a weekly thing. There's so many people that should have been running that thing, but Tony wouldn't let his damn, hands get out of the cookie jar and everything. He wouldn't let it happen.
He's not a smart businessman.
Yeah, they had to face.
They own the Jaguars, for Christ's sake. They're not good business people.
No, and they ran down one of the biggest clubs in soccer in Europe too for years, where people wanted to kill them. The Liverpool, whatever the fuck. I don't follow soccer, but I mean, there's so many options that they could have had, and you just didn't take advantage of it. Even a guy at the time too, no matter what of a stooge he is, I think he was free in the beginning of it. Was Bruce Pritchard too? You mean to tell me there's not something you couldn't learn from a Bruce Pritchard? How to run your thing? The guy that was
Vince a total douchebag, but
but he was Vince McMahon's
they wasted money on bringing Mark Henry in and the delegation and fucking the Big Show, the Captain.
And the Big Show, the Big Show's still there, making probably $500,000 a year in mercy money from them.
I mean, come on, dude.
Yeah,
spending buku bucks on Mercedes Moné and her being your highest paid fucking superstar. Like, come on. These are stupid ass mistakes,
It says having Eric Bischoff as a guiding light as an Uncle Eric role would be amazing for AEW, with Cody Rhodes at the time running Shock and Collar, Jake running the other Shock and Collar for advice, Arn being the other advisor. Yeah, I mean, these are all the people that you should. And you know what the sad thing is? He had them all there at one point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He had the chemicals to make the formula. He
had everything. How do you not take advantage of the fucking knowledge of these guys?
And not only that, a guy like Arn Anderson,
yeah,
he was over in WWE as a talent manager and stuff like that. Like, he knows how to run that shit, man. You should have positioned him in there. And there's so many people that you could have positioned in those spots.
You got fucking Jerry Lynn in the back. You got Dean Malenko. I mean,
Billy Kidman produced for the WWE for a long time. You should have brought him in there. Oh, he still does. Okay.
Yeah, he still works for them. Still works for them. I mean, think about what you had there that could have turned it over, taught these guys. Like, look at our careers, and everybody else out there could probably attribute the same things to their careers. You don't just go right off the bat and become the top dog. You got to work yourself up the ladder, man. You work in HVAC. You got to learn the mechanics of everything.
I had to do that. I had to start off as a fucking loading dock truck driver, forklift driver.
Yep.
Made my way all the way up to management,
Yeah. Started right from the fucking bottom and learned every role of that. I remember when I got out of the military, it was the same thing for me. I was getting out to start my career in social work, and I had never done it. I'd never done it in the military directly, at least, in the field of human services. I'd done work with them. I thought I'd get right out the gate and I was going to be able to do this, this, and this, and running all these programs because I had all these degrees and I had this experience. Fuck no, bro. I got a dose of reality real quick when I got out. Yeah. First job, case management. Learn how to be a case manager first. Then you work yourself up to other positions. That's how it goes. These guys could have taught Cody Rhodes to do that. Cody Rhodes could have been running your show right now. And Cody Rhodes could be the fucking face and driving and making new faces of your company in the near future.
And they were doing that. They were doing it. And it was genuine and people were craving it. And AEW, when they first came out, I remember was being called the WWE killer.
Yep.
People were tuning in. People were watching it. They were excited about it. They had people like Nick Aldis coming in and defending the NWA championship on the television and stuff like that. And it's just like, how did you fumble something that had so much momentum and you literally put it in the toilet,
Just like look at these names Rand mentioned again, just to throw this out here, just to give a few of the, the accolades of these people. Double A was in one of the biggest factions of all time, was the man with Nature Boy Ric Flair, who many consider one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time. worked backstage in WWE and was a senior producer in WWE, a senior agent there, did the same at WCW. Then let's move up the ladder. Jake Roberts, who many people say is the most creative mind in the history of professional wrestling, that if people would
best
just give him
promos of all time,
best mannerisms, crazy shit that he did. The mind of him, they would say, when you got DDP telling you that Jake Roberts saved his career, saved everything and made it for him, then you know that guy's legit. And then you got the only fucking guy that kicked Vince McMahon's ass and nearly put him on his ass. And you had an opportunity to use his advice, but you wanted to be pig-headed and stupid and not listen to him.
And your fucking ego.
Yeah. Fuck. How many times have you learned in your life? Like, I guarantee you, too many times for me too, that when you bring ego into something and you bring your own ego,
never good. You got to check your ego at the door when you're in business.
Because if you don't, what happens?
You fucking lead on your emotion, and it fucks everything up for you.
Yep. It
when
never
you lead by emotion. Like, it was almost like you put two chiefs against each other, and Eric Bischoff knew what it took to get the company off the ground. And Tony Khan thought that, I have all the money. What do you mean you're going to come in here and tell me what to do with my company? Eric Bischoff had the fucking knowledge. He's like the old guy that you pay a bunch of money in a company and nobody really understands why until the shit hits the fan and they can't figure out something, and he knows just where to tap it, just where to do it, just what to do to make the puzzle all fit together. That's why you pay that guy that much money.
Knows the business like the back of his fucking hand.
He would have been, and the problem is people will say, well, what about TNA? He had his chance in there. Eric Bischoff was an on-screen character. He was not in control in TNA.
Yeah. Absolutely. And people will always go back and say, well, he had Ted Turner's money in his pocketbook and blah, blah, blah. Fuck that shit.
It was taken away from him.
Absolutely. It was taken away the last few years of it from him is why they lost it. But Eric will always tell you he's not the most creative person all the time, but he does have some really good ideas, and he's smart enough to know.
He surrounds himself with good people.
There you go. He always says that I'm smart enough to know I'm not the most creative person in the room, so I'm going to surround myself with good people. Do I have some good ideas? He'll say, sure, of course I do.
Nope.
But I'm not a writer. That's not my job. I know how to run the business side of things.
The biggest promo video of 2025
was
that got everybody excited was the Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff black and white, where they came back together. Yep. And they shot that everybody was thinking, like, what's going to come of this? Like, is it the second coming of the fucking NWO? What is it? Everybody was excited, man. And that's all it took was that little bit from Eric Bischoff. Could you imagine if he was put at the helm of AEW, what that would do?
Give him a live mic, man. Yep. Let him become the Mr. McMahon character again.
Yep. And he could.
He's
a fucking prick.
He is a fucking prick, man. Yeah, I love Eric personally. I think he's awesome. He's always been a dream guest of mine. But you can hear it and admit it when you hear him, and he'll admit it to you. And he'll say, "Am I a little bit of a fucking prick sometimes, or an asshole?"
Fuck yeah, he is. He's got a reason to be.
Absolutely. And he'll tell you sometimes too. He'll say, "Did I have a big fucking ego that cost me so much?" Absolutely, I did. Yep. And then people say, "Would you go back and change it?" And he goes, "Absolutely, fucking no." Because that's how I learned.
The best times of his fucking life. You know?
I had great moments, but that's how I learned how to do things differently too.
Absolutely.
You are who you are, and you are what you are. And he doesn't hide who he is. And if you play that character, like the Mr. McMahon character, or when Eric did it in WCW, you play that character, and you can do what guys like that do and make you believe that they're really like that, man, you're going to have some good money and some good business. And you're going to teach people. You're going to groom new stars. You're going to bring in other people that are going to come and take it. Rand's got some great ideas there too. Cody could have been a great stepping stone to get to that Hogan level, or Cody was their big guy for a year or two. That was their Hogan for a while, Yeah,
but look at Cody Rhodes now in WWE. I get he's the focal point of WWE, and that's what they focus on and everything like that. But when you look at his character and you look at the current state of where he's headed, how many more stories can they tell with Cody Rhodes at this point?
Yeah, there's not much left unless you turn him heel.
There's not much left.
Yeah.
They blew their load so quick with him that what do you do?
He needed that bloodline storyline, though.
Yeah, he did.
He needed it. That was the crowning moment of his career for sure. That moment at WrestleMania, was it 41?
That's how stupid AEW is, though. They let him go,
And to think people thought that he was just going to get buried and brought back down to being Stardust again.
No, Triple H made it a point that
Yep.
he was going to prove everybody wrong.
And boy, did he ever, man, because that was
He
some of the
did.
best business and storylines they had done in decades.
Yep.
And of course it's been going on forever and all that shit, but people, no matter if you liked Cody or not, everybody was invested to see that match. And when he didn't win it the first time, people were just pissed off. And then they just gave you, let's draw this out. We got much more meat on these fucking bones
That's
right
the
now.
slow burn.
Yeah. He didn't get it now. And, he's still going to wrestle. He's still going to come out, but is he going to be able to earn his way back? And boy, did he ever. And did he do a great fucking job in that storyline, that build up for that main event for that him versus Roman too. That place went berserk when he
Not
won.
to mention, I don't think Cody gets enough flowers for his work capability.
Absolutely.
He's a phenomenal fucking worker in the ring.
The best way to bring Eric back is to have him sitting there by a pond fishing. Somebody walks up to him and say, "We need your help with running a wrestling company right now," so that can rise above where it is. Wait until you see we get tanked by TNA with this promo idea. Yeah, TNA likes to steal shit all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You never fucking know what they're going to take. Well, what we're going to take right now is we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about our main topic. The reason we did other topics for the majority of tonight was because this isn't a really long topic to talk about, but it's going to be a fun one for a few minutes. And it's going to be the toughest wrestlers ever. So think about your picks that you want to discuss.
Real tough guys in real life.
Yeah, not WWE tough guys, where it's just in the ring. We're talking about real tough guys or girls in the outside. One of them's not named Malibu Rich or John, by the way.
No.
Yeah, we're not going to put ourselves out there. It's not fair for us to put our names in that hat. But we'll be back in a few minutes, guys. Come back. We'll see you in a few.
Quiet.
Nothing screams tough guy more than Alex Wright as we're stepping into that.
Hell yeah, dude! I was about to bust out the Alex Wright dance move.
Boy, the Dancing Fools, what a tag team that was, Brett.
Yep.
All right, so let's get into our final topic of the night. And our final topic of the night is the toughest wrestlers of all time. I know one's going to get mentioned for sure, but there's a lot of other ones out there too. Hit me with your first one. Who, when you come to think of some of the toughest wrestlers of all time, who do you got?
Well, I got to go right off the rip with Arn Anderson, man. You know, he Double A. He's the enforcer and the Four Horsemen for kayfabe, but even outside of it, you've heard a lot of notorious stories of him getting fist fights with people and stuff like that, bar fights. And you're gonna get like that when you've got a friend like Ric Flair. You know, you're gonna have to bail him out all the time. But one of the most notorious stories is, you know, him and Sid Vicious and the scissors incident. So
yep. That's a good one. Double A, man. Great choice for it.
Yeah.
Rand's going to go real tough guy outside the ring. I'd have to go with was Animal in the 70s and 80s for the brawl fighting style that he was. Macho Man would have been another one to look at as a legitimate tough guy back in the 70s. And the other legit guy in real life from wrestling is Rick Rude, who's going to be my first choice of the evening tonight. Good parlay into that for me. When you talk about real tough guys, you talk about ravishing Rick Rude. Yeah, he looked like $1 million and he played the Chippendales type character. But in real life, Rick Rude was unfuckwithable. He's here.
Rewind's here.
You're not going to have this list without the GOAT Taz. 95% of wrestling fans would say the toughest guy who ever stepped foot in the squared circle.
He ended in a massage parlor where he got arrested.
Yep.
It's ironic that Rewind is a massage therapist and Taz got arrested in the same place.
But Rick Rude, stories about this guy arm wrestling alone, like they tell the arm wrestling stories. And then he notoriously was part of that Minnesota Tough Guys crew, like with the Legion of Doom and all those guys, John Nord and everybody back in the day, Scott Flash Norton. But people would just tell, there was legendary stories about how tough Rick Rude was and how he just wouldn't fuck with them and how people would go into the bar just to try to see if, they could match wits with Rick Rude, and Rick Rude would knock them out straight in one shot and smoke a cigarette, finish it up. And that was it. Yeah. Rick Rude was one of the ultimate tough guys. And I have to say too, Rick Rude is one of our ultimate vote getters or view getters on YouTube, time in and time out. When I put a Rick Rude clip up, bro, people fucking flock to it. They love the ravishing one.
I just got to say this, Rewind. I understand that, but we still haven't got the skinny on your dating situation that's going on. We need this continuation. I almost feel like it's like the Joe Dirt Part 2 story here. So we need a little touch base here at some point. You're going to have to get us a punishment bowl.
Yes. He will in due time. He told you.
So with that being said, my next one is going to be Bruiser Brody.
Oh God, yes.
When you have a guy like the Undertaker saying that Bruiser Brody like humbled him during a match, basically the Undertaker got too stiff and Bruiser Brody had to humble the Undertaker. Like, think of that. The Undertaker's a big bastard, and he's one of the most respected, feared people in the wrestling business ever. And to have a guy like he was afraid of Bruiser Brody, that just shows you how fucking tough Bruiser Brody was. And not to mention all the other stories about Brody and stuff like that when he went against people and shit. And not to mention when he would wrestle in South America and stuff. Those were tough areas, isn't that where he ended up getting murdered?
He got murdered over in Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, exactly.
Yep.
Going into a place like Puerto Rico, you got to be a tough bastard, So
his whole chain swinging thing that he would do was stuff that he would do in Japan to scare the people in Japan when he was there. Yep. Lex Luger tells a great story too. He said it was like his first 6 months in the business, and they put him in a main event against Bruiser Brody. And he said people told him, don't fuck up in this match. He's like, Bruiser Brody will make you fucking pay if you fuck up in this match.
Yep.
So Lex said he was so worried the entire match he was going to fuck up that he actually fucks up. And he said when he got in the back, he ran to the fucking back. And then when Bruiser Brody came in the back, he said he went right up to him and apologized to him, profusely. And, because people were telling him, you better fucking apologize to him because he thought he was going to kill him. And Bruiser Brody, he said, was just the most nice guy. Hey, we had a great match. It's all right. Worked out well, man. Let's do it again the next time. He just goes about his way. People were afraid of the dude, man. No, legendary tough guy for sure.
Rewind is talking about wedding bells. I'm shocked.
Patience is a virtue. It's still ongoing. So when it ends, you'll get the details. But I may marry her. Tough luck. Ooh, look at that. The spoiler, Don Jardine, the stories about him not taking any shit. I don't know who that is.
I don't know either.
Coco Beware never took shit. That is very true. Coco was a very notorious tough guy in the back, surprisingly.
Yep.
People have told that story that Coco took no shit from people, and he fought often bigger guys and bigger stars to his own detriment that actually cost him opportunities, but he was a little hothead. Rewind, this is going to be my number 2. How could you leave off Harley fucking Race?
We got to interview one of his proteges, Trevor Murdoch.
Yep.
And it was one of the coolest interviews we've ever done because it felt like we were sitting at a bar hearing stories about Harley Race.
Yep.
What a fucking guy, man. Tough bastard.
Always for me growing up, I never got a chance to watch him in his prime, but when I saw him, I loved him as a manager, especially with Vader and those guys in the early 90s.
He always wore those big fucking rings too, dude.
Yeah, and he had the biggest fucking hands on him. People would say he would drink beer nonstop, and he would just his hand would swallow the beer can like Andres did.
Yep.
And they say he had these big fucking. I think Trevor told us the story, when he was on the show. And he said that he'd have these big fucking hands with the can. It would just engulf the can in his hand. And then when he was done, he just squeezed the can, throw it in the back, and fucking grab another and light up another fucking unfiltered cigarette. Driving at 100 miles an hour in a Cadillac all the time. He survived a fucking car accident that would have killed anybody else. It killed everybody else in it. He survived it and got back in the ring and fought again and came back and went another 10, 15 years. And I always loved the story about Harley Race with Hulk Hogan when WWF was countering them in Harley's market for the NWA. I think it was in the Missouri area or something. St. Louis, I think it was. And Hogan was on top of the card. Harley was so mad that they countered him in his own town without coming to him first that he had a gun on him and he was planning to go shoot Hogan and actually went over to the fucking arena to confront.
He was actually going to do it?
He was actually going to do it. He was that mad.
Wow.
And Hogan had gotten wind that he was coming. Somebody had let him know. They're like, he's going to fucking shoot you. It's nothing personal. It's not that he dislikes you. He's just pissed.
Business.
Yeah. He's that fucking mad. And they had warned him about it. And Hogan has told this story too. And he said when they told him that Harley was coming for him, he said, get me the fuck out of here.
Yep.
That's a fucking, and Hogan was a big fucking dude, man. He was no cream puff either. Harley Race, that's a man's man right there too.
For sure.
On God's green earth.
Yeah, Don Fry and Harley Race in a tag team match. Picture that.
Bro, imagine those two in their heyday just going slugging each other out, man, in a fucking real slobber knocker. They're the types they're gonna
just bar. I want fucking Don Fry and fucking Harley Race walking with me.
Absolutely. Bring
that
those two
afro
with
and that mustache, dude. Could you imagine just putting that together? Good Lord.
Yeah,
the amount of ass that you would get,
you just walk in and be like, "Hey, Don, that guy's eyeballing me wrong the other way." All right, hold on, let me go get a little drink.
Drink water.
Fucking goes right over and knocks him out and say, "Hey, Harley, that motherfucker said that you're a bitch."
Yep.
On God's green earth, I'm gonna walk it and I'm gonna knock that bitch out. Hold my beer.
Yep.
Oh, how badass would it be to fucking go out and hang out with those two
at a bar? Oh my God.
Spike Dudley's a tough motherfucker, but for a different reason. He was a crash test dummy for the Dudley Boys. There's no denying that he's a tough son of a bitch. Maybe not fighter wise, but did that dude get abused or did he get abused?
Oh, dude, absolutely.
I'll never forget when Harley Race did an independent show at my high school. I caught him out back smoking a cigarette. Nice guy though. That's Harley right there. Superstar Billy Graham, legit tough bastard when coming down. Oh yeah, Superstar was a big suck. He was a big motherfucker too, wasn't he?
Yep, for sure.
Rand, you had another one up here. Hold on. Tank Abbott and Dan Severn in the 60s. Vince McMahon, legit tough guy. Piper was another tough one, living on the streets of Canada at 9 years old, learning how to fight. Yeah. We'll talk about Tank in a little bit, I'm sure. But Dan, how could you deny Dan Severn's toughness, bro?
He's a fucking beast, man.
Dude.
They don't call him that for no fucking reason.
And I'll always put over Dan as a wonderful man and a great guy. I always wish we could have got the show more. I've told the story a million times on the show. When Dan shook my hand the time I met him, bro, he had a fucking grip on him. And I have big hands too. And he swallowed my fucking hand, man. And just, he has a grip of death. My son was a wrestler in high school, and he had shown him a couple of things when he was there talking to him or whatever it was. My son said to me afterwards, he goes, "How old is that guy?" And I said, "Oh God, he's like, I think at that time he was about 60 something." He goes, "He's fucking 60?"
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "Jesus, he's strong." You know, just Dan alone for his mustache is tough too.
Right.
Give me another one for you, buddy.
I got to go with somebody that's kind of a common one for people. Tough because he was the locker room general forever, did wrestlers court, kept everybody in line, was feared, respected, revered. And then in situations where he actually had to step up in controversy and stuff like that, he still always kept that fine line of who he was as a person, and people respected him for years and years, and still to this day. And you got to bring up the Undertaker when you're talking about these type of situations. He's not called the American Badass for no reason.
Yeah.
Wrestlers in the locker room were fearful of him, even if you were on the top of the card, Shawn Michaels, whoever. Like when he's taping his hands and he's saying, "You better be in line, or I'm coming for you." They did.
You better do business tonight.
You better do business tonight. Not to mention all the other fucking shit. The stories that you heard about where he'd walk out with a flak jacket because his ribs were broken and he'd wrestle, come back and like nothing, Or you watch the documentaries where he's getting silicone shots in his knee and, thick goop. And I know you know what that feels like because I've had it too. And he goes out there and puts on matches with Shawn Michaels that were just next to perfect.
I don't know how he would do that with those shots, bro. I've had fucking 50 shots throughout my life and in my leg, man, with all the injuries that I've had. 5 fucking
the Undertaker, the
surgeries.
size that he was, there was no reason why he was able to do what he did.
No, I know. I mean, just imagine your knees are so shot, as I know well, and you're learning now, and you have to get that shot in. That shot is so painful afterwards.
And it's thick, and it's slow,
and it's cold.
A long needle and cold,
and they put it right in the center of your fucking kneecap, man.
Yeah, and your knee's throbbing because it's receiving it,
And it hurts for days afterwards, just to the hope of getting relief. And this guy was going out and wrestling matches night after night after night.
Yep. Not to mention hip replacements, knee replacements, all the surgeries that they've listed of the Undertaker. That guy, he may be the toughest of all these on the list, to be honest with you. I mean, the Undertaker is a tough son of a bitch,
No doubt about it, man. John's got big Viking hands, but they're real soft in a different life. He was a master masseuse. Could be.
They don't call him the Scandinavian god for nothing.
Nope. I agree. What about Ron Simmons? The stories of the Steiner brothers even scared of him. Yeah, Ron was going to be up there too. That's a great choice with him.
Yeah.
The line I always hear from people on the podcast that worked with him, and they'll just say, Ron was unfuckwithable.
Yep.
And if people don't get what that means,
nobody. Look at what the guy went through the times of racism and shit. How are you going to pick on Ron Simmons when he's been through that?
He's one of the greatest.
Kill him, because of his color of his skin and shit. What are you going to do to him?
Yeah, and he was one of the greatest college football defensive players of all time. Yeah, I know he didn't have the big, NFL run or anything like that, but he was legitimately one of the greatest defensive college football players of all time too. Like the shit that man has seen and done is, I would love to hear those stories. I wish he had a fucking podcast to tell some of the Ron Simmons stuff.
Ron Simmons would be a great podcast.
Bro, I agree. He'd be
Damn with Ron Simmons.
Richie. Damn. Steve Blackman's another guy I wouldn't want to. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
What they call it? The human weapon?
The lethal weapon.
The lethal weapon, yeah. The fucking lethal weapon.
Steve Blackman is a legit bounty hunter now. Like, could you
Yeah.
imagine, like, Dog the Bounty Hunter, eat your fucking heart out. If fucking Steve Blackman's coming at me with them goddamn sticks, dude, I'm giving up. Like,
You know what the best part about it is? Some dipshits actually, going to this guy knowing that they're going to try to run from him.
fuck
He's just going to
that.
get me. I'm going to run from him. I ain't going to. If I'm going to
Nope.
bail on a bail bondsman or a bounty hunter, if I'm going
It
to
ain't
bail on
him.
him, it ain't going to be that dude, bro.
That dude's gonna spin a fucking trash can lid across your dome, and you're
Yeah.
fucked.
It's
You know?
over. And I've seen him like recently. He did an interview with Chris Van Vliet. He still looks like $1 million, man, just with grayer hair.
absolutely.
And his interview was highly entertaining too.
Was
It's because you never get to hear from him. So when you get a chance to hear some of his stories, like when he tells the story, another guy that many people would say is one of the toughest, JBL. JBL was fucking with him the entire like plane ride or something like that, and he pissed him off. And Steve warned him. He said, "If you fucking do that again, I'm going to fucking kill you." And John, being John, had to save face, and he said it was the dumbest move he could ever make. He said he did it to him again, and Steve waited till they got to the baggage claim area, and he's going to pick his fucking bags up. And then he said, out of nowhere, Steve just comes fucking leaping out at him and fucking cold cocks him, kicks him in the head, and knocks him out. Picks up his bag and leaves.
Yep.
Why would you fuck with him?
Yep.
Why would you do that, man? Like, if I
Maybe
pissed Steve Blackman off,
JBL
I'm
was a
apologizing.
fucking dumb jock. He
was.
fucking
And he
moron.
admits it too.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about JBL is he doesn't lie.
He doesn't stray away from it.
No. And then when he tells the story, he could spin it a million different ways, to make himself look better. Oh, I got a couple of good shots. And no, Steve punched me a shit ton of times in the head. I tried a couple of things. He kicked me in the head and knocked me fucking flat out for a few seconds. Like bad move. Like I should have done that. That's why JBL's always over. Yeah, Joey Styles. Didn't Joey Styles whoop him or something?
He smacked him in the face.
Yeah, he bitch slapped him when JBL was picking on him, and then he walked away.
Yeah.
That's got to kill your aura a little bit right there when
kill your
Joey
aura a
Styles
little
bitch
bit.
slaps you.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit. Give me another one, brother.
I got to go with somebody that probably won't be mentioned. This guy has reinvented himself more times than you can count. He's been in the wrestling business forever. Hopefully he's making his return this year to the WWE to have his retirement tour. I don't think this guy gets quite enough credit for the people that he's stared down the barrel of, so to speak. I'm talking about Brock Lesnar. I'm talking about Goldberg, stuff like that. Like Chris Jericho, being the mighty mouse that he fucking is compared to these monsters. He's got the true hockey. I've always said Chris Jericho was supposed to be a hockey player too.
Well, his dad was.
Exactly. He was a New York
and his
Ranger.
dad was an enforcer too.
Yeah. So he obviously got that trait from him of he doesn't give a fuck how big you are. He's got that hockey spirit in him. I'm going to go out and fight the fuck out of anybody, And you hear the stories of Chris Jericho when Brock Lesnar bloodied up Randy Orton. He didn't know if it was a shoot or not. And he's waiting for him in the back. Like Brock Lesnar had already been a UFC heavyweight champion at this point, And a guy like Chris Jericho, who's much smaller in size, walked up to him like, what's up, dude? Let's do it,
And it didn't happen.
I mean, you gotta give him respect for that, man. Like
my favorite's the Goldberg one when Goldberg was acting like a fucking bitch. And then, I've never really heard the details too much, but all that's ever really been said is that Chris Jericho humbled him pretty quick.
Yep. He took him to the ground pretty quick.
Yep. And could have done way more. And Goldberg definitely, I think, that day learned his lesson a little bit that it doesn't matter if you're the biggest fucking dope in the room. You're not necessarily the toughest fucking guy in the room.
Right.
And good pick on Jericho, man, because he legitimately does not get credit. He'll go at it with anybody.
Yeah. You don't give a shit who you are.
Next guy I'm going to go with is somebody that I just absolutely love through his career in the UFC. And I love his career in other things that he did in wrestling, even if it's not that popular with other people.
Yep.
And the most important thing I like about this guy is he legitimately just loves to fucking fight, and he's not always going to win. But I tell you, if he connects one of those on you in the right spot, you're out like a fucking light.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also a fantastic fucking singer with some of his very good styles in the boy band era. And it's none other than Tank Abbott, man. Get up on your feet. You know,
get up on your feet.
Oh, what a great
Put
song!
your hands together.
We're better than the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC too.
No matter what the weather.
Oh boy, I'm gonna have to play that later on tonight to hear a good version of it. But dude, Tank Abbott is legit tough. Okay,
for sure.
Not the most polished guy in the world for sure, but his early UFC fights, his stories you hear about him.
That guy wrote the book for fucking being a street fighter in the UFC.
Seriously, and got himself paid because of it.
Yep.
You know, got himself fucking paid.
God bless him. His health is so bad right now, but you know, Tank Abbott, man, what a fucking soldier that guy was.
He was about to die.
He was about to die.
He had like a fucking 2% chance that they were giving him to live. What was his liver dead?
And that's even with Steiner math, bro. Like,
I mean, chance. he was dead. He was dead. Yep. And the fucking guy came back like it was nothing.
He's a cockroach, bro. He's not gonna die. He doesn't.
And it's not like he takes care of himself. You can tell the guy drinks like a fucking like a sailor, man. Fucking smokes nonstop, probably with cigars and shit. God knows what he's doing. I mean, but when Tank Abbott got in the ring, you knew if Tank got one good punch on you, man, that was enough that could put you out. And the bar fight stories that I've heard through the years about him, he just loved to fight and enjoyed it. Yep. And he wasn't doing it to just make money. He was doing it because he loved to. Yep. Tank Abbott, man, never would I want to fuck with him.
Nope.
Good picks here. Talk to Trash, blah, 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 whatever. That's a long-ass fucking name. But I love the Wolfpack theme, and Rick Rude was awesome. All right, give me one more for tonight, my friend.
Well, I'll give you one more. It's a guy that's been in the pro wrestling business and the MMA field. It's somebody who gets a lot of attention on our fucking feed. And we've even got an award for him and a skit on our show about it. So, you know, he's the man behind the goof of the week, and it's Don fucking Fry.
Oh, I mean, we got to play him. Hold on.
We got to cue it up.
No, Mark Kerr's a fucking goof. He's a fucking goof.
Don Fry's the fucking man. And, you know, his stint in wrestling was short. But just that guy, like, if you got to talk about tough bastards in the world,
it's him.
It's him. If I'm going to war and I'm going killing, I'm taking him. If I'm going into a bar and I'm going to fight, I'm taking him. You know, like Don Fry was just put on this earth to be a tough bastard. He's also one that almost died multiple times in his comeback and pill addictions. And
the fucking guy had a broken back again with a broken rod in his back and was still
he had no fucking idea.
Yeah.
He had no idea the rod was even broken.
Broken fucking back, man.
Yeah.
Still working, doing his thing.
Yep.
It just felt like it hurt a little bit.
I guess it wouldn't be a secret then, dumbass. Don Fry, dude.
Don fucking
That's
Fry,
my top pick for the night.
Yeah, that's a great one, though. That's a great one. Well, everybody knows the top one is for on here is going to be who was on right on the banner for this or the thumbnail, whatever you want to call it. And you know, the stories of him is just legendary.
Yeah.
Just look at that fucking picture. Look at him. Look at Tank Abbott right there. Head. Bro, come on. Like, did you like the bar setting in the back here that I made?
Jesus Christ. Could you imagine these two having a bar fight?
That's what I'm saying, man. You talk about bringing Don in there. You know, I'm definitely all for taking Don Fry too, but I would love to walk into a bar.
Was Tank Abbott a tanker?
I don't know.
I just see the old Ironsides patch on his fucking shoulder there, and he's got the POWMIA. I think
you have to check it out. Maybe he was.
Jesus Christ.
We talked about Dan a little while ago, Rewind. I think it was probably before you popped on, but we talked about Dan a little while ago being one of them. Dude, if I'm going into a bar fight, I'm going to take these two right here. Just Tank alone. Imagine Tank's mug looking at you like that right there because you fucked with the wrong person and you just Tank's looking at you.
Somebody stepped on your new fucking Nike shoes and then you got these two goons behind you. They're like,
and then, you know,
man's here.
Some fucking group of guys is accosting some poor girl, and then here turns around is fucking the Tonga Kid here, Haku Ming.
The Tonga Kid.
That's what he went by one day, the Tonga Kid.
Look at that fucking outfit, dude.
Just imagine fucking Haku, the Tonga Kid, fucking Ming coming out here looking at you, and he sees these five fucking big dumb jocks in the bar fucking with this girl. It's over for you right there. When
That's a death sentence.
When Don Fry talks about Haku and says Haku is the toughest son of a bitch he's ever met, when Don Fry says that, and go look at the interviews because they're out there when they ask him about it. Tell us.
Don Fry doesn't call anybody tough.
No. Tell us about Haku. Are the stories about him true? Oh, he's a sweetheart of a guy. That's what he says. He's a sweetheart of a guy. Just don't piss him off. Just don't piss him off. I've seen that motherfucker rip a guy's eyeball right out of his fucking head.
Christ, I believe it.
And he'll say, I wouldn't want to fuck with him. You know?
Yep.
He goes, that's a bad dude right there, but what a sweetheart of a guy.
Yep.
I mean, the Haku stories are some of my fucking favorites to listen to.
Yeah, Haku's fucking legendary in that. And everybody says the same thing about him. Everybody. It doesn't matter if it's The Undertaker. It doesn't matter if it's Don Fry, Tank Abbott, whoever. They all say fucking Haku's the toughest bastard.
Hey, talk whatever, pulley card, whatever the fuck your name is here, man. We ain't dick riding Tank Abbott. We're just talking legit tough. And then if you got Bill Goldberg in there, he got his ass whooped by Jericho, bro. Okay. He ain't on the fucking list. Razor's a tough guy, though, too. Razor Ramon, for sure. And I know he actually did
kill somebody,
Yeah. We already talked about Taker being tough. Razor Ramon, but fucking Bill Goldberg putting him up on that list?
Yeah, that's not a tough guy.
No, you might get the vote for the fucking goof of the week on that one for putting that out.
Mark Kerr's a fucking goof. He's a fucking goof.
And fucking finally to that point of calling it Bill Goldberg one of them. All right. You might have to be fucking muted for that one. God, Goldberg on us? No.
How you gonna put Bill Goldberg on there?
Yeah, seriously. There's a bit.
Bret Hart is shaking his head right now.
We're just fucking with you. Talk the trash, man. We're just having a good time. We're just joking with you, bro. Oh, funny one. Yeah, Goldberg back down to Matt Riddle.
Yep.
We're gonna talk later.
Yeah.
Okay, bro. I'm not your bro. Okay, bro.
Okay,
I hate Matt Riddle, but that was like one fucking time.
That was my favorite moment.
Yeah,
in his fucking life. Yeah,
that's the great. And the best was that they got it on fucking camera.
Yeah.
You know. And Riddle did not back down from him, and Riddle would have
fucked him up bad.
Fucked his world up. And that's why Riddle acted that way to him, because Riddle knew it, and Goldberg knew it too.
Goldberg knew it too.
He knew it too. He just wasn't going to play along that he knew it.
Yeah.
You know? He knew that too. When you know that nobody's going to fuck with you, you can be a dick to somebody like Riddle was back to Goldberg.
That's right.
You know, that's
Riddle's
the power.
a legit mixed martial artist. He fought in the UFC,
very good
man.
too.
You know,
yeah. Piper in the 70s, the stories about him, you know, he was like homeless at like.
He had to fight.
Would you say ran earlier, like 9 or 14 years old? He was something like that. I mean,
and he was a scrawny kid too. He had to learn how to fight. You know.
Yeah, he did pick a fight later on in WCW with Kevin Nash, and it didn't work out too well for him though.
I mean, who's going to think that Piper at that point with a hip replacement is going to be able to take Kevin Nash, who's like 3 times his fucking size?
Yeah.
Come on.
Listen,
the
there's
fact
not
he even stepped up to Kevin Nash like that's pretty fucking.
You know what's funny is Nash never gets put up there with the toughest bastards in wrestling. You know, Jay or Jared or whatever the fuck your name is. I grew up a Dusty Rhodes fan. I also like Ric Flair getting bloody all the time. Okay,
fair enough.
Cool. Dusty Rhodes, baby, the American dream. Talk the trash like Dusty Rhodes. He's too sweet to be sour. He's the American dream, baby.
Yep.
He's the American one. But no, Riddle, man, definite badass motherfucker though. With Riddle though, I wouldn't want to go. But Kevin Nash, Kevin is a guy you don't hear a lot of stories about with fighting.
Well, first of all, he's from fucking Detroit.
Yeah,
you know.
Let's throw that one out there. The next one, he's 6'10", 300 pounds, still looks like a fucking Greek god the way that he looks in his.
I think he's in better shape now than he was in wrestling.
Probably
when I watched
is.
Nitro, he was not in the best of shape. Like now, he's fucking jacked.
Yeah,
you know,
like
so.
Kevin Nash is a guy that was a big bouncer for much of his life before he really made it in wrestling too, and. He's a guy that I just don't think people were dumb enough to screw with. And when they did, they learned their fucking lesson. Yeah, like Rewind said when he slapped Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe's a tough bastard. Kevin fucking didn't like that shit he said about Scott Hall. He thought he took it too fucking far. Slapped the fucking shit out of him. And you didn't hear anything coming of that because I don't think he wanted to fuck with Kevin.
Nope.
Would you want to fuck with Big Sexy? No, thank you.
Absolutely. No thanks.
No.
Guy from Detroit that's
him.
fucking, he's that fucking big, and he played basketball in Detroit. Like,
and he was in the military too.
And he was in the military. Like, he had to fucking fight,
Oh, Bam Bam for sure, man. I would have definitely have taken Bam Bam with me.
Bam Bam, yeah. That's one that should have been brought up. Jesus Christ. And he was a loose cannon too.
Yeah.
From what I heard in the documentary with him and stuff like that. He'd go in and get in bar fights just for fun. So
dude's a bad motherfucker, man, too. What was he from Asbury Park, New Jersey, or something like that? Yep. I mean, when you tattoo your fucking top of your head.
like that. And that was back when people, they didn't have the techniques of today. They had these, they were doing it with liners, not just fucking, the shaders and stuff like that, where it's easier. That guy fucking had his whole head tattooed with fucking flames. Like, yeah, dude.
Vince McMahon, he said when he was living in a trailer park as a teenager, legit tough guy in the street because of that and the connection of the mob back with his dad, not knowing who he was. I wouldn't want to fuck with Vince back in the day either. I mean, he looked like a guy that they knew his way around.
Vince is the kind of guy that you do something to cross him. And that's why I say about Nick Khan, Triple H, and this whole fucking scenario. You do something to cross Vince, he may not get you right then and there, but he'll never forget it, and then he'll get you when you least expect it. So you'll think you got away with it. Nick Khan and Triple H are going to sleep nice and tight at night with their millions of dollars that they have. But Vinnie Mac's going to come along eventually. He's going to take it all away because he's got the world in his fucking hands. This is the only guy that beat the U.S. government, by the way.
And everybody else that got in his way.
And everybody else.
Yep. 100%.
I mean, all the shit that he did in this case, and the guy's not criminally charged with anything, that's Vince McMahon. He's untouchable,
Terry Bam Bam Gordy for sure. That's another one that people talk about. I always say with the Freebirds, I think we were talking about a couple weeks ago on the show, when you look at the Freebirds, you had the worker with Buddy Roberts, you had the stick man and the guy with all the charisma with Michael P.S. Hayes, and then you had the legit fucking badass, and that was Terry Gordy. And Michael would tell stories about Terry Gordy that I've heard through the years too, about like different times they go into a bar and people would always want to test him out, because he was such a big, imposing figure and he had such a reputation for being tough. Everybody that ever tested him out didn't learned a good lesson, because Terry Bam Bam Gordy was legit badass too.
Do you think Triple H is a tough guy? Or do you think it's make believe?
Make believe all day.
Yeah.
All day. No question. No question at all. Papa Shango, yeah, big tough motherfucker with him. JYD, good picks for everybody. These are all good ones for sure. All good ones for sure. Road Warriors, definitely. My favorite tag team of all time, too, is the Road Warriors. So, yep. All right, guys. Well, it's going to cut us out to the end of the show tonight. Richie, closing thoughts before we head off for the evening.
Appreciate y'all coming out, watching the show. This one, I was skeptical about taking this topic on. I didn't know we were going to pull a whole show off on it, but we did it, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. I think this is something that we could probably even go more into depth to in another show. But anyways, I appreciate y'all showing up, even the new face there that we got. And hopefully we get a punishment bowl here real soon with Rewind. Glad to see him. Hope Jude's doing good out there. Haven't seen him in a while. Joey, all you guys, thank you for showing up. And we'll see you down the road, man.
You down for JCW on Friday or Sunday?
Yeah.
All right. So we'll come back later this week with our new weekly tradition. We're going to watch a little JCW lunacy. We'll do it either Friday or Sunday. Richie's anniversary is on Saturday, and I got some plans with some friends. We're going to watch the John Cena stuff too, so just going to relax that night. But we'll be back later towards the end of the week on Friday or Sunday, and we'll come hang with you guys, watch a little JCW lunacy. We always have a lot of fun fucking watching that show the last couple of weeks. It's been a good time, so we'll see you guys again later this week. But for Richie, I'm John for tonight. We're out of here. We'll see you guys on the next show. Have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your week.